Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm Cody. He is Andy. It is the 10th of September, just about 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern Time. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing, man. I'm doing. Markets are roaring.
Deal me in. Let's go. Well, how did Michigan State do, by the way?
Good. It was a good weekend. Not so well for the Packers. Michigan State won. Michigan got crushed. Idaho, by the way, you talked about a team that you weren't so sure about. Mm-hmm. They just about beat Oregon the first week, and they had a pretty good run on Saturday. Like, Idaho is back.
Go Vandals. Let's go.
Go Vandals.
Go
what a
Vandals.
Team.
Have you ever been to Moscow? Not Russia, but Idaho?
I never have.
Maybe you should go. It's rolling hills of the Palouse. Like, over time, they changed their slope and stuff like that because of the wind, I think.
Yeah, I remember somebody was saying Saturday for Idaho being an FCS football school, beating an FBS football school was the first time in I forget how many years. It was quite like the spread on that game was amazing. How many years it's been since a lower ranked school that lower ranked has beaten the higher one. It was incredible.
It's great. I think my last year there, the homecoming game, we lost to, I think, University of Hawaii by I think it was a 6-possession game by halftime.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get people to go back into the stadium, the fans. No, I have to get my spot at the bar, so I'm going to leave. I don't know if we can put that in print or not, but that was basically, so it's great. It took them 20 years, but they're figuring it out.
That's right.
They're figuring it
Wyoming.
out.
That's
so,
the University of Wyoming.
My question for you is, before we get into the charts, which, by the way, we have all three requests, which is great. Would you rather see the Packers win or Michigan State win if you couldn't have both?
Oh, man.
Do you need to contemplate this one over several days or something like that? Maybe we'll revisit next week.
That's a hard one because I am a diehard of both teams. I can't say both.
No. We'll put a pin in it. We'll put a little corporate pin in it for you, and let's just think about that one. Let me think about it. Let's circle up on some of these charts. So this one came at request from Wisco Phil. Is that right?
It did.
Wisco Phil.
This is Nat Gas.
So all of our requests come internally. First one, Wisco Phil, Nat Gas. His question, are we seeing a W or not? My answer, I sure think so. You got all the classic signs of it, right? I mean, let me just get this one of your favorites, the ellipse. Such a cool word, by the way. You just don't get to use that word that often, in any given day. Everybody says circle, but do you ever say ellipse?
I do not. I'm going to start.
You should. So let's draw another ellipse. Bam. All right, there we go. Yeah, I mean, it's got the classic higher low, right? Had a big move. What's interesting about this is spot non-fat. We're not looking at this one today, but I'm going to pull it up anyways because it had a very similar move. You had, big break, double top, higher low, and then it starts to go, right? So let's go back and take a quick look. Just keep that little chart in mind. This is a daily of Nat Gas. It sure feels like we're seeing the exact same thing play out, doesn't it?
It does. And today, you had the whole candle engulf yesterday's. I mean, literally the whole movement.
Boom.
High to low.
Great spot there from Cody. It's you should just take the show over. Yeah, to your point, look at that. Totally engulfed the previous days. Not the range, the open and the close. So the range would be as if it was the high and the low were included. But that's still, to your point, a very bullish signal.
Oh, it missed it. Okay, you're right. I was wrong. It missed it by just a hair
fraction there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So either way, I mean, to your point, it engulfed the previous day's settle and that whole candle itself, not the range, not the total range.
Yeah.
I guess in short, that's a bullish signal, but it's one of several, right? I mean, you had, like I said, this higher low. The next step, if this thing breaks through, like I said, similar to what we just looked at on the weekly non-fat, if this thing breaks through it, then you got to think we get a nice healthy retracement back to 250? 250 seems to be a magic number.
I mean, we really started to accelerate on that higher low right there too. I guess that's the thing that when I'm looking at it really sticks out to me is just how fast we kind of rallied that thing.
Yeah. No, this is poised to, and maybe you consolidate more. Like what we saw in non-fat, it felt like, maybe it consolidates more than what you maybe expect. But that is the market building a base after breaking out from a long-term trend. That's even more strong. I would characterize that as even stronger. So yeah, no, it's a good spot. I appreciate the request, Wisco Phil. His question, is this a W? My answer would be yes. I hope it's not cold.
Those got good charts.
I hope it's not super cold this winter, because if it is, and that gas starts going up, do you have a lot of blankets at home?
I was going to say, our next one we're about to roll into, another request on crude. Same kind of thing.
Boom.
Right? Natural gas, crude. Different charts, right? Obviously way different looks here, but crude oil.
It's not looking so hot.
Not so hot.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, the M formation, we haven't talked about crude in a long time, I don't think. And same thing with natural gas, but that M formation just completely filled itself out, and we've just done nothing but go into contract lows here. I was going to look at it on a monthly. I mean, even the monthly does not look fantastic.
So there's the M you're talking about. And you got the confirmation here, right? It broke through that. Really, I mean, you'd be looking for not only breakthrough. I would say this is a more conservative breakthrough, right? This is really the one you're looking for, in my opinion, right? The breakthrough of that, and where it makes the M. So you have just the inverse of what we just looked at with nat gas, right? Where you had we have a lower high, right, from here to here. That's not good. Broke through. Now it's continuing to move lower. You said you want weekly? Is that right?
Yeah, I was just moving daily, weekly, monthly, and as you go, I mean, there's no real huge bullish information on here that I can see.
There's the monthly. So this is for September. This is September's candle right here. It's not looking so pretty, but I mean, it still has some room to break and still be in like a consolidation. But again, this is even worse. I mean, you have this attempt to break out, big time failure right there. Look at that. Right there. Boom. And completely failed to get back into even within this candle's range and all this noise, right? I mean, if you just look at like the closes, it really didn't come in and like challenge this once again. That's a sign of weakness. And so I guess the next step is, what is this low right here? That's 63.64. If you continue to break through there. What's crazy is that I don't think crude has limits. So like milk has like a 75-cent price limit.
Yeah.
Crude does not have I don't believe crude has an intraday limit on it.
You are correct. I'm looking right now. There are no daily hard limits in crude.
So this thing could go from bad to worse in one day pretty quickly. And then, we always look at some of the secondary stuff too. This is the money flow index. So it's basically a look at like volume weighted, like if a green candle has light volume and a red candle has high volume, the money flow index theoretically would be sloping down. So to see that start to turn lower confirms this price action, and it has room to go. I mean, you really kind of see this thing trade within a range of like 20. Really, 20 is kind of the low end. 20 to 80, it's kind of this range. And over here, so this thing, in my opinion, it trades well. Technically, it's clearly broken out of this uptrend, and it has room to break. So you're getting that confirmation from the secondary stuff, in this case, the money flow index, that you have continued further potential weakness. I feel like you're still like back at the question of Packers versus Michigan State.
I mean, it's still coming back into my mind. It's a hard one to answer.
You're just sitting back there like,
just don't know how I can answer that.
How can you make me choose? Like,
right?
Immovable object versus an unstoppable force. Like, which one do you pick?
Exactly.
I don't know. So, All right, last one. This also came at request. This is feeders from Ryan.
Want to look at feeder cattle.
What do you want to do here, boss? October feeders.
I don't think I would be a buyer of feeder cattle here.
Okay, why not?
I like how the candle didn't really engulf all of Friday's trade, the one that we had yesterday, and then today had a nice rally, but you still couldn't sustain up to 240.
You don't think we're getting something like this?
Just looking at it, I really don't. I mean, today would have been almost the perfect day to push up towards 240, and which has recently turned into resistance, and I just, for some reason, it feels like we are not going to push that number anytime soon. I think a trip down to 230 is going to be happening first. So I think we're going to go back into our lows and then maybe try to test it.
I'm going to disagree with you. And to me, I think it's, if we can use our funny E word again, ellipse, we once again are getting a higher low. And to me, it's more of an extent of like, can we go test 240? Because the tough part about this one is that you had a pretty significant break very quickly. This is a 3-day period going from 252 to basically 240-ish, 230, 238, so somewhere in there, right? Over this 1, 2, 3 period, and really you haven't been able to get any sort of material. The bulls really haven't put up much of a fight, all things considered. So if though we can get back into this 240 area and start to actually get a close above this candle right here, then it turns into kind of like a really kind of like a whipsaw back to 250. I mean, this market has become obviously super volatile, right? Given the price level that we've been trading at relative to previous years.
Yep. So
to me, this looks like more of a sign of strength. This kind of reminds me of that candle right there. It's not the exact same pattern, right? You don't have this hammer right here, but you have a clear attempt to break down given yesterday's low. So yesterday's low, 229.575, tried to break, couldn't do it, and then settled above the previous day's open. That to me is a sign of real strength. So just talking about it out loud, we tried to get below yesterday's low, couldn't do it intraday, and then for the rest of the day proceeded to move into a point where we are now above the previous day's open. That, I think, is a sign of strength. And so I think you have to be a little bit careful. I think you have to be mindful of this thing potentially wanting to go back to 240. It's not that big of a move, given how much this thing has moving around recently. If you can't get above this 242, 243, and you get kind of like another one of these little dudes right here, this formation right here is literally the inverse of this one. So if I just like that formation right there and that one right there, they're basically the inverse of each other. So I think you have to be mindful of what happened last time that happened. Just, again, the inverse of it. So this price level 240, I think, is a price we want to be mindful of. And I think we got to test it again.
So that's part about the show. We can agree to disagree.
You, on the other hand, is just like open up both hands.
All I'm saying is I would not be a buyer just yet. I think we go test 230 one more time before we try to recover to 240.
How's the beef business down, by the way?
Good. I mean, hey, animals, still short animals out there. People got to eat. Prices in grocery stores are very high right now.
People got to eat.
People got to eat. You got to feed the folks.
So, fair enough.
All right. Well, big shout out to Matt, Ryan, and Phil for their charts they wanted to look at today. Andy and I will be back next week. If anyone else would like to see any more charts by then, please shoot us an email, give us a phone call, let us know. I'm sure we'll have more football talk. Big football weekend coming up. As always, lots of charts, a lot of movement so far. So we'll be back with charts, college football, NFL. It's just a whole show rolled into one right now. So until next week, everyone have a great rest of the week, even better weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.